Oh, since I'm a college football YouTuber, you guys don't think I know ball. I've been researching, I've been watching these teams, I've been putting in the hours to create the perfect March Madness bracket, and you're lucky enough that I'm sharing it with you guys today. Also, I'm making a Saturday Shenanigans March Madness pool for all my subscribers, link in the description, and the winner gets an appearance in a video. Yes, I'm serious. You get to be in a video with me. You have 3 attempts for the bracket to put in the pool, but I'm only doing 1 because I know I got the perfect one, and we're going to get into it in a second. If you're new, yes, I post college football videos. I made a banger about Stanford football yesterday, the fall off of it. Go check out the channel. Feel free to subscribe, but I don't want to waste too much of your guys' time because it's March. It's the best time of the year. We're all hyped up. I'm going to get into the bracket. Oh my gosh, I got butterflies. Woo! All right, the bracket just opened up. 1 versus 16, UConn versus Stenson. No, we're not having another 1 versus 16 upset this year. We're going to go with UConn. That's easy. They won the national championship last year, all of that. This second one is tricky. FAU versus Northwestern. I know FAU had that crazy run to the Final Four last year. Northwestern was just a great team in the Big Ten. I know the Big Ten was super deep, but because of that run, I'm going to lean FAU. We never know in these 8 versus 9 games. Analytically, I think FAU has the advantage according to KenPom, so I'm going to go with FAU in this one. San Diego State and UAB. UAB is super hot right now. They just won the American tournament, but they did play, I believe, 4 games in 4 days. They're going to be a little dusted. San Diego State, they lost in the Mountain West Championship. They played a lot of games as well. This is a classic example of experience versus non-experience. San Diego State made that run last year, but 12 versus 5. I'm looking here. Are there other 12 versus 5s I can pick? St. Mary's, Grand Canyon, 12. No, I got to go with this one. I mean, statistically, there's going to be a 12 over 5 upset, and I don't see any of the other ones happening, so we're going with UAB. Auburn versus Yale. Yale won the Ivy League, but Auburn is my team. Auburn is the biggest sleeper. They're the best 4 seed in the bracket. Although they got pinned in the bracket with UConn, Auburn is very good. Make sure to pick them. If you want to pick a 4 seed, a lot of years we get a 3 seed or a 4 seed going up on a huge run. That's Auburn. We're going with Auburn. BYU. Oh my gosh, BYU. Easy. No, that's just easy, guys. BYU's making a run at this. We got Illinois, Morehead State. 3 versus 14 sometimes happen. I don't see it. Illinois just played well in their championship game. I'm going to go with Illinois. Washington State and Drake. I like Washington State. They have great guard play. This is really the first time they made the tournament. They haven't made it since 2008, although Drake had to beat Indiana State to get to this point. Ooh, I'm going to rock with Washington State. I'm going to rock with the Cougs on this one. You know, no personal biases or anything. Iowa State, South Dakota State. Are we going to see another 2-15 this year? Probably not this one. I could see other ones happening. We're going to get into that in a sec. We're going to go with Iowa State. And by the way, guys, I don't pick it a region at a time because that's not how it works in college basketball. You don't play one region. No, you play all of the first round games. So I'm going to hop over here to the South region with Houston. And if you know me, you know I love Houston. No chance we're picking Longwood. Nebraska versus Texas A&M. Oh, these 8v9s are so hard. No, I'm going to go with Nebraska, and I'm just going to go conference. I know the SEC is really good, but the Big Ten, yeah, I'm going to go conference. I'm going to go Big Ten. Nebraska. Wisconsin versus James Madison. This is going to be a popular pick because James Madison, I believe, is 31-3. They have a great record. I know they're a great story. Everyone loves them in football. I've actually made football videos about them if you're on this channel. But no, we already had one 12v5 upset happening. I'm not going with 2 this year because just so you guys know, I really like the 11 seeds. I'm really on the 11 seeds. I just don't see that many first round upsets happening, especially at that seed line. It's going to be a trendy pick, but don't go for it. Don't follow the trends. Duke versus Vermont. Woo, this is a close 4 versus 13. I'm just going to go with Prestige, Duke, Blue Blood, easy. Texas Tech versus NC State. Now, this is the one where everyone's going to try to get you in fold and pick NC State. They are, because NC State just won their conference tournament. Everyone is going to go with NC State, but when they all sway that way, we stay solid. We stay solid. We're going to go with Texas Tech in this game. Kentucky versus Oakland. Come on, why are we even talking about this? Now, Florida versus Boise State and Colorado. I don't think Colorado should have been a 10 in the last 4 to make it in. I feel really bad for Colorado for doing that. I think they're going to beat Boise State. Yes, the Mountain West teams are very hit or miss. I don't think Boise State's that team, but Florida, we saw what they did in the SEC tournament. This is a very dangerous team. I'm going to go with Florida. Marquette versus Western Kentucky. Now, this is the 2-15 where I can kind of see. If you guys pick this 2-15 and want to get out of pocket with it, yeah, I can see this one easy, but Marquette is going to make it through. Okay, we're going to slide down to the Midwest region here. Purdue, they lost to a 16 seed last year. Are they going to do it again? I got Grambling. Nah, I'm just playing with you guys. We got Purdue. Utah State versus TCU. I picked against two of the Mountain West schools. I believe TCU is not a great team. We're going to go with Utah State, veteran leadership. They have a lot of transfer portal guys coming in, and they gelled well this season. I really like what they're doing, and we're going to pick them. Gonzaga versus McNeese. Everyone's going to pick McNeese. They're analytically a great team. Everyone's saying that McNeese, if they played an 11 or 12 matchup, they're going to win. But it's Gonzaga, and we know how streaky they can get. We know how hot they can get. They have Coach Mark Few. They make it to the tournament every single year. A lot of times they actually get to the Final Four. They get close, and they don't make it. But this time, this is just a tough draw for McNeese. If they faced another 5 seed, I probably would have picked them. Also, if they were an 11, I could have picked them too. I understand everyone picking this, but Gonzaga is just too hot right now. I got to choose them. Now, Kansas versus Samford. Same thing. Trendy. Kansas is very injured. They looked horrible in their conference tournament. But again, this is a blue blood school. Bill Self, they know how to win here. So now while everyone's going to be picking Samford because it's easy, it looks nice on paper, haha, no, Kansas is going to win this game. Now this is the 11 seed I'm talking about, Oregon. Oregon did this in 2019 where they weren't going to make the conference or they weren't going to make the NCAA tournament, and somehow they turned up in the conference tournament. They ended up winning the thing. They got the auto bid as a 12 seed. They beat a 5-seeded Wisconsin, and they somehow made it to the Sweet 16. Oregon's going to do the exact same thing. You got Dana Altman. Although they have a young guard in Jackson Shellstat, you know, I'm very against young guards for tournament teams. They have an amazing program, an amazing team. They know how to win in March, and they got Dante. I don't know if you guys know Dante, their big man. He was just putting in work all Pac-12 tournament where they beat Arizona. I got Oregon in that game. Creighton versus Akron. I'm going to go Creighton, but Creighton's weak. I'm just saying Creighton's a weak 3 seed. We're going to go with that. Texas versus Virginia made it in the tournament? Are you kidding me? Oh, Virginia made it in the tournament. I hate watching Virginia play because they play so slow. They play the defensive brand of basketball. Ooh, but that could help. Colorado State or Virginia, I don't even know who's going to win that first 4 matchup, but this is my logic, all right? There's always a first 4 team that wins. It seems like every single year a first 4 team ends up getting that momentum from the game. Colorado State had rest because they lost early on in their tournament. They didn't play in the championship. I think that Colorado State is going to win the game. They're going to win the first 4 game, and then since they're going to have that momentum of playing in the tournament, playing at Dayton, playing at that site, they're going to ride that and beat Texas. It happens every year. I mean, we saw 2 years ago an 11-seeded UCLA make the Final Four run after being in the first 4, although I'm not saying Colorado State is going to make it to the Final Four. I just have them winning that game. And if UVA somehow pulls it out and wins it and they win against Texas, I still get that pick. I still get that pick right. Tennessee versus St. Peter's. We know what St. Peter's did, the crazy upset kids, but no. Tennessee, great team, but of course these SEC teams are very hard to pick because they have great offenses and they score about 90 to 100 a game, but they also give up. And I'm going to go with Tennessee in that game. And finally, the West region, and this is where there's going to be the most chaos. All right, North Carolina, 1/16, easy. Mississippi State versus Michigan State. I want to lean Michigan State just because of their program, because of their name. But I liked what I saw from Mississippi State in the SEC tournament. We're just going to go off that. We're picking Mississippi State. St. Mary's versus Grand Canyon, another one where Grand Canyon, the Lopes, they're an amazing team. They won the WAC, I believe WAC. Yeah, WAC. Okay, so I mixed them up with the WAC or the Big West, but this team has an amazing record. I don't know what it is, maybe 28 wins, high 20s, 30s. But St. Mary's is so disciplined, and this is the St. Mary's year, guys. This is the year. They beat Gonzaga twice. That never happens. They won the WCC tournament, which they always lose to Gonzaga. I am really high on the St. Mary's team, and they like to slow down. They're another one of those slow-paced teams that aren't fun to watch, but I love this underdog story. It's weird because we typically see St. Mary's as the 12 seed. They're the 11 or the 12. They're the higher playing spoiler. The lights are going to be bright for them being the higher seed. Everyone's going to go with Grand Canyon. I'm telling you that, but I am riding with the St. Mary's Gales. Alabama versus Charleston. Am I ballsy enough to pick a 13? Am I ballsy enough to pick a 13? No, I'm not, guys. I'm not. I wish I was that gutsy. We're going to go Clemson and New Mexico. New Mexico was built to win in March. They have the elite guard play. They have Jalen House, Kyle Mashburn Jr. They have the coaching, Richard Pitino. I mean, come on. If you have the name Pitino, you are going to win in March. New Mexico, that's the 11 seed. That team's raw. So as you can see on the bottom half of the bracket, I have 2 11 seeds moving on. That's why I kind of don't want to go with another 13 in Charleston or a McNeese. No, those are the upsets I'm picking. Baylor versus Colgate. Oh, gosh, Colgate. I remember I had them in an upset a few years ago. I think they were a 14 or a 15. They didn't pull it off. They shoot a lot of threes, if I can remember. A lot of threes, so that could be dangerous. But I have Baylor. Not very high on Baylor. Dayton versus Nevada. These 7 versus 10 matchups. Whew, we already picked another 7 versus 10 Mountain West. But Dayton has been limping. I can't lie. They've been limping towards the end of the season. So because of that, we're going to go with Nevada. They have a veteran guard named Jared Lucas. I like him. I watched him hit a buzzer beater this season. That's just what it is. Arizona versus Long Beach State. This is another one where Arizona loves losing to bad teams. I don't know why. They lost last year to Princeton as a 15. They lost to Oregon State this year. Yes, that's my school, but we were the worst team in the Pac-12. Arizona loves to do that. So if you guys are feeling gutsy, go with Long Beach State. I love their story because their coach got fired, actually. He was going to get fired after the conference tournament. They somehow won, but no. We're going to go with Arizona, guys. So this is where things get fun. In the second round, UConn versus FAU. Can FAU make another Final Four run? Nope. UConn's too good. They're the #1 overall seed for a reason. Auburn versus UAB. UAB's Cinderella run is coming to a close. Auburn's too good. Auburn is way too good. BYU versus Illinois. Here we go. Here's the upsets. Y'all are tired of this chalk. You're like, oh, look how chalky that is. Oh my gosh, you suck. BYU. That's the team. Analytically amazing. They played in a tough Big 12 this year. They beat Kansas on the road. I don't care that Kansas was down. If you beat Kansas on the road, you're doing something right. I just think they have a lot of quality wins. We're going to go with BYU. Washington State versus Iowa State. Cougars, the lights are too bright. This is a good Cinderella team. I could see that since it's their first time making it since 2008. But we just saw what Iowa State did to a #1 overall Houston. Boom. We're going to go Iowa State. So we got a 1-4 and a 2-6. Houston versus Nebraska. Come on, if you're not picking Houston, I know they lost in their they didn't lose in their conference championship game. They lost the semifinal, but that's bound to happen. You're bound to have a dud. That just gave them more time to rest up. This is still, in my opinion, the best team in the country. Wisconsin versus Duke. I know I was talking Wisconsin beating James Madison earlier. A lot of people are going to pick James Madison winning this game and winning against Duke. I still have Duke. I like what I saw from them this year. Texas Tech versus Kentucky. Kentucky. Offense. I know Kentucky has a team that has a high ceiling, which means they could go really far. They also have a low floor. If they don't shoot well, if they're not playing well on offense, they are going to lose. Kentucky could very well lose this game, but no, I'm going to write it out saying they're getting hot in March. Guard play. Kentucky wins. Florida versus Marquette. Yeah, I'm going with Florida. Marquette, that's just a week 2 in my opinion. I just think Marquette's a week 2 analytically. Just to play on the floor, the Big East. I don't even know how many teams the Big East got in this year. Maybe 2 or 3. I'm just not high on it. Marquette, they've been eliminated in the first few rounds the last couple years, and I think there's a chance that they could be due, but no, we're going to go with Florida. Florida is another dangerous team. The SEC teams that can score are dangerous. So we got a 1-4 in both regions, and then a 3 and a 7, 6 and a 2. We got a little bit of that. Purdue versus Utah State. Ooh, there I want to pick. I want to pick Utah. I want to pick Utah State so bad. Do we have a 1 seed going out like that? You know, we do have a 1 seed going out like, yeah, we do. We got Utah State. Woo! We got a 1 seed going out like that. I was going to pick another one to go out, but we're not. It seems like a 1 seed always falls early. I know Purdue lost in the first round last year, but Purdue is just, it's a dangerous team to pick. Gonzaga versus Kansas. Again, I mentioned how Kansas was kind of banged up. I know they're an amazing team, but this is Gonzaga's time. I got Gonzaga over Kansas. They've been just so hot lately. Oregon versus Creighton. We're going Oregon. Oregon's my 11 seed. They're going to at least make the Sweet 16. The run they're on with how hot they are. Again, I'm not a Big East guy. I'm not a hater, but I'm not going with the Big East. Virginia or Colorado State and Tennessee. We're gonna go with Tennessee in that game. All right. We're going back up. North Carolina versus Mississippi State. Give me UNC in that one. Pretty self-explanatory. St. Mary's versus Alabama. Gales. Gales all day. Gales all day. Call me a West Coast homer. Gales all day. New Mexico versus Baylor. Oh, this bracket's getting freaky. Nevada versus Arizona. Unfortunately, we're going to have to pick Arizona. I don't want to, but Arizona's a super talented team. Again, they have a high ceiling, and I would say they have a low floor just because they love losing to bad teams. I don't know what is up with them. Like, they'll wow you and look like they're one of the best teams in America. I got to drink some of my coffee real quick. UConn versus Auburn. Get psyched, baby. Get psyched. Auburn, I think they're a top 6 team in the country if you look at analytics, and that's just a testament to how well they play. They don't play the best against great teams. I'll admit that, but they're dangerous. That's all I got to say is dangerous. Another one of those high ceiling teams. And I'm going to go with Auburn. UConn, they had their time. They won the national championship last year. I don't see them repeating. That just doesn't happen very often in college basketball. They had that run. They're just bound to lose. I know UConn can do everything. They can beat you in any which way, but they are bound to lose. And I think this is the best opportunity for them to lose is against a 4-seed Auburn that is underseeded that I very well could have been seeing a 3. Now, BYU versus Iowa State. I feel like I've been picking too much West Coast in this. We're going to go with Iowa State. Big 12. They get the job done. So we got a 4 versus 2. Houston versus Duke. No question. I am just riding Houston. I'm just riding Houston. Call it me riding. Call it whatever you do. I really love Houston. Kentucky versus Florida. A little SEC matchup here. Give me Rob Dillingham. Boom. Kentucky. So the Final Four on this, or this is the Elite Eight, my bad. The Elite Eight on this half of the bracket, a 4 versus a 2, a 1 versus a 3. You can see it. That's pretty reasonable in about all brackets. And this one, we had another 1 seed losing. So we have 2 of the 1 seeds out at this point. It's going to be Gonzaga versus Utah State. Zags all day. Not the most talent. This is not the most talented Gonzaga team, but they will find a way in March. They will find a way in March. Oregon versus Tennessee. Oregon, you had a great run. I can't do it. I can't do it, Oregon. There's part of me that wanted to, but it seems like these runs end in about the Sweet 16 as an 11 seed. My other 11 seed, North Carolina versus St. Mary's. Give me UNC. We're going to add another 1 to that. And this is where it is. UNM. UNM is built to win in March. Oh, I just moved my mic. And when they do win in March, and you're going to be like, oh, this team came out of nowhere. I told you so. They have all the DNA of a Cinderella team in March. A lot of times in the Final Four, you'll see a 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed, like we'll see here, and then we'll see that one random 10, 11, sometimes 12, or maybe a 9 or an 8. We see a higher seed, and I think the best likely opportunity is seeing a New Mexico team. We know that the Mountain West is very loaded this year. However, the Mountain West is going to have a lot of teams either lose early or go deep, and New Mexico is my one team. Sometimes you gotta put the cards in one. This is March Madness. This is the NCAA Tournament. You just got to put your hands in the basket, the eggs in the basket, whatever you want to say. Auburn versus Iowa State. Final Four. Auburn. We gotta. If you beat UConn, you're gonna make it to the Final Four. I don't think Iowa State would have enough in the tank. Houston versus Kentucky. No, this is when Kentucky kind of falls apart. Houston's going to be able to do their best job to lock them up. I'm not saying they will be able to lock them up, but Houston just so disciplined. Calvin Sampson, again, Houston is due. They're due. They've made too many long runs where they've lost, and this is just Houston's year. And also, Houston's a safe pick. If you're picking in your office pool and you don't know what to do, you're not picking these crazy upsets. Houston is a safe pick. Now, what are we going to go with here? Gonzaga versus Tennessee. We're going to go with Tennessee. Give me my guy Dalton Knight. Close game. I just think Tennessee, this is an easy path. I know Tennessee's not the greatest team. Tennessee's not amazing, but look if they win this game, they're either going to play Texas. I'm not high on them, and they're going to play a 10-seeded first 4 winner. No, and then they play Oregon, which I think is going to happen. Also, they could play Creighton, but again, Creighton's weak. I just think Tennessee has too easy of a path, and if this does happen where Purdue goes out early, Tennessee is pretty much walking to the Final Four. A lot of you are going to say I'm crazy because, yes, it's an SEC team. It's a high ceiling, low floor, all that. North Carolina versus New Mexico. Bacot, Armando Bacot, give me that. The run for New Mexico would have been legendary if they made the Final Four, but this is about where teams fizzle out. As I said before, I had Oregon fizzling out in the Sweet 16, but New Mexico, Elite Eight's around the time. You got to go. So, Final Four, we have 2 1 seeds. That's very likely according to analytics. We have a 2 seed, and then we have a 4 seed. So, this is a very safe Final Four, I would say. However, the path we took to get here with New Mexico going, kind of insane, I can't lie. Nevada, we had some upsets, so this isn't all chalk, guys, but this is a very safe pick if we are talking about Final Fours. Houston, boom. Call me that. Now, North Carolina and Auburn, I actually haven't thought about this. Shoot, guys, I'm going to catch me on the fly. Because if I already picked Auburn to go this far, but let's look at North Carolina's way to get here. It's just easier. I'm going to go with North Carolina. North Carolina locked in. So we have a 1 versus 1, although I don't know how often this happens. It seems like this hasn't been happening recently because of all the crazy upsets. I mean, last year was just ridiculous with the Final Four. San Diego State, FAU, who else? UConn. Who was the final team? But it was just a ridiculous Final Four. Anyways, we're going to go with Houston. Houston is our national championship. And how many points will be scored in the championship game? Probably low scoring. So 65, 61. So I'm not a math major, guys. I'm a communications major. As you guys can see, I don't do math. I make YouTube videos. I really don't. Yeah, I'm going to enter the sweepstakes. Yeah, we're going to do all that. I don't want to click continue and submit bracket because you guys are going to see all my information. You guys are going to see where I live. So we are going to wrap it up with that, and I'm going to cue the outro. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and make sure to join the pool. Let me know who you guys have winning it all in the comments. Also, if there's any crazy upsets that you foresee, let it be known.